Right. Okay. I really haven't been in the streets on a certain level to see what's going on with everything that's happening with SNAP benefits and things of that nature. I've realized when you are around a certain group of people, there's just certain events you don't know about because they're not living out those type of experiences. Like a person who rents something and a person who owns something they have a different way and a different way of explaining things and a different type of conversation. Anyways, Melanie popped up and I haven't watched any of her videos in a couple of days. So she's already diving deep into what's going on with this snap and people's reaction to food stamps being cut off. So I stopped it and decided I wanted to share this with y'all. So let's dive deep into this real quick and let's update. Let's see what's going on.
This is tonight in Washington, D.C.'s Navy Yard. Youths have taken over the streets. National Guard are practically powerless as they're not armed with crowd control munitions and can't make arrests. That must change. Take back DC. But guys, I want to show you this. And then I have something to show you this. Really shocking. Really, I mean, this is shocking. But you're not going to believe the response of the mayor in DC. I promise you it's going to blow your mind. But let's take a listen and a look at what's going on here in DC.
To all the ISVs and software developers using Stripe for your part.
Get out of here.
So as you can see, a bunch of YNs, that's what they call them, young ninjas is what we call them, okay? That's what the black community calls them, YNs. Just acting a fool, acting a complete mess. Now you remember when all of the left and Democrats were like, we don't need a National Guard, we don't need anything to help, we don't need this, that, and the other. Because DC's under control, nothing, no problem. They're just trying to hurt black people and all this other stuff. Remember that? Well, look at this. Now, this popped up on my timeline last night, and I had to double check to make sure. Wait, this is coming from Muriel Bowser, the mayor of DC, the very left Democrat, establishment Democrat, DNC, DC? Yes. This is what she says. We are declaring a limited juvenile curfew in Washington, D.C., effective immediately. All juveniles under the age of 18 are subject to a curfew from 11 p.m. until 6 a.m., which will extend through 11/5. Well, you're going to need it longer than that, sweetheart. You're going to need it longer than that. Now, the National Guard is set to be there until February. It's been extended till then. But a lot of times, they said they were just going to round up and corral black people into concentration camps in D.C. That's what the National Guard was going to do. No, they were there for a specific purpose. But they can't do anything about this. They can't do crowd control with juveniles, okay? They can't do that. And so they're there protecting the streets, cleaning it up, and it has gotten a lot better, but still, even with all that, this is what's going on. They are not there to replace police. They are not there to replace these elected leaders, as everyone was claiming. That was the panic. Remember, that was the talking point. You know, we cycle through new talking points, new panic every other week. So, because they need something to throw at the wall to make sure it sticks, but it never does. So then she continues, this is in response to several weeks, guys, several weeks of disorderly juvenile behavior, which endangered both themselves and others. Then she finished up. The chief of police is also authorized to designate special curfew zones for use under 18 beginning 6 p.m. Wow, wow, wow. I am color me shocked, color me shocked. There's more to get into this. I want to, let me show you guys this, okay? And I'm going to, hold on one second.
That's basically a pandemic for teenagers out there in DC.
All right, so this is the news report. And it says, DC enacts citywide curfew for minors after weeks of violence and unrest. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has announced a citywide curfew for anyone under the age of 18 beginning Saturday night in response to weeks of ongoing violence and unrest. The move comes just a few months after President Trump mobilized thousands of National Guard troops who were deployed to the nation's capital to combat what he describes as a crisis of crime. Bowser's order, which runs through November 5th, allows police to set up special zones. Okay, we already read that. 4 of the zones will go into effect on Saturday. They include Banneker Recreation Center, Union Station, Navy Yard, and U Street Corridor. The limited curfew goes into effect Saturday at 11 p.m. Local time, it ends at 6 a.m. Any minor or juvenile who violates the curfew will face a fine of up to $300 or up to 10 days in jail, according to authorities. Oh, now, who's the one locking up black people? Who's the one locking up black people now? So this is another video that's on in the Navy Yard. Let me open this up.
Hello?
What's your email?
richboykin7@gmail.com. I'm sending it to you right now. Wait, richboykin7@gmail.com. Hold on.
That was right?
I don't know why it's like, what's that dash? Is it because it's too long?
It didn't show up. Ain't no dash show up.
No, not over there?
You say richboykin7@gmail.
Okay, yeah, it's richboykin7@gmail.com.
Okay, you should be getting your ticket.
All right, thank you. All right, good night.
Good night.
All right, y'all. My bad.
Do you know that it's the National Guard out there trying to chase these people down, these youths, okay? Chase them down to try to get some order in there. I don't know. I don't see much of the police out there. Yeah, you see the flashing lights behind, but they're not the ones out there chasing them. Those are men and women in uniforms trying to get the youth under control. But remember, we don't have a problem. They just want to lock up black people. No, I don't want to hear that anymore, okay? Because understand, this is lawlessness. This is chaos. This is unrest. And who's going to get it under control? Because clearly, D.C. doesn't know what the hell it's doing. Just like most of these blue cities. They want to claim all this racism and oppression and all of that. This is what you get with these leaders. They don't give a damn. You think they really give a damn? But while that is going on, guys, I got more for you. We got to talk about how we got to get back into SNAP and what's going on with that, because look at this. Look at this guy. Not in just SNAP. Actually, before we get into SNAP, let's take a look at this one, because this is absolutely insane. Because we got to get into the voter fraud that's going on and the illegals and illegal voting, which all ties back to SNAP and what the Democrats are doing, okay? And so it says, voter fraud alert. This guy just admitted he was on his way to illegally vote for Mamdani 6 times. 6 times. I live in NYS, in New York State, and there's no ID requirement. You just sign your name. He could just lie about his address and vote in multiple precincts. This is a Class E felony punishable by up to 4 years in state prison per count. So if he indeed voted 6 times, that's up to 24 years behind bars. Let's see if they actually do anything about it, because we've seen these stories before. We know that this happens, and then these people just get away with it. Nothing happens to them. Nothing at all.
I'm here in New York, about to illegally vote for Zoran Mamdani 6 times. Yeah, 6.
You're not getting replaced by AI. You'll be replaced.
So there you have it. Voting illegally 6 times in New York. This is happening in California. This is happening everywhere. They purposely put laws on the book so that this stuff can happen. This is what they want. They want unrest and chaos. But listen, now let's get back into the whole SNAP thing, okay? Let's get back into the whole SNAP thing. Listen to what this brother has to say about it. Listen to what he has to say.
If the temporary removal of government benefits has done anything, it has exposed the extent to which dependency has been institutionalized. If you pay attention, the system's strength has never been in its generosity, but in its ability to make self-sufficiency seem impossible. It's almost like people don't recognize that dependency is the most efficient form of control. When the governed needs to rely on the governing to sustain their existence, authority no longer needs to demand obedience. It's voluntary. And let's be clear, what we are watching today is not a financial disruption. It's a revelation of how power sustains itself through engineered reliance. By the way, for all my protesters, this isn't about race. Power has no favorite complexion. It only favors those who forget they can stand on their own. But let me give you perspective. A system that feeds you also decides when you're hungry. Self-sufficiency is not a privilege, it's a birthright. Understand this, no matter what you are expected to receive, you are loyal to a system that is not invested in your well-being. It is invested in your continuation as a dependent. Yes, I am aware that assistance is sought out for many different reasons. A benefit card can keep dinner on the table, but it's also going to escort your confidence out the kitchen with it. The meal appears, yes, but the memory of your own capability is going to leave with it. And I say this to you as someone who's already been there where the help feels necessary. But what most people don't recognize when they're inside is the same system that's willing to give you assistance is the same system prepared to criminalize you when your need turns into an action. There's a great saying that goes, hunger is temporary, but the consequences to how you respond to it can last a lifetime.
Man.
And speaking of those consequences, look at this. Look at this. An entire family, they have their kids, little toddler out there robbing the store. Look.
When you got the whole team Kelvin, no EBT.
Lock the door. Open the door. Son, you got the.
Okay, having this little toddler teaching her to steal because you're not getting your EBT. This is what the white man did to you. The white man had your child. It's one thing if you're going to steal, right? It's one thing if you want to take that risk, get locked up and away from your children. Okay, fine. But then to have your children involved in the crime, how disgusting, how trifling. I don't want to hear a damn person get up here and say, oh, they're trying to hurt black people. Really? She's hurting black people, her own black child. Like, really? Really? But see, this is what Democrats want. They want this type of unrest. They want this foolishness to go on. They want you dependent on the government while they shut it down. The person you need to blame for this are the Democrats, the DNC, the establishment Democrats they said they know families will go hungry, but we need the leverage. We need the leverage. And who do they need the leverage for? Is the leverage for us? Is the leverage for the American people, black, brown, or whatever? No. The leverage that they want is so this could go on, okay? This can go on. Because understand, your black ass is not their voter base. The new voter base are illegals and immigrants. That's who they care about. That's what this whole thing is about. I've given you report after report after report so you could deny it all you want, but you are living in Delulu land, fantasy. You're just eating up whatever the DNC vomits out, and you're calling it a meal.
He's brilliant. He's going to be working to make sure that individuals who got Social Security numbers in this country should be using them for the right things, and they shouldn't be on our benefit programs. You know, we have over 6,000 individuals that have been identified through their work already that have been on the terrorist watch list, that they are known criminals.
How does that happen, Madam Secretary? How does that happen?
It happens when you put a train wreck like Joe Biden in the White House, and it's going to be a lot of work to clean it up. But just in the last 4.5 years, we've had over 9 million people get Social Security numbers that are not U.S. citizens. So they may be people who have some sort of legal status, but a lot of them are illegals that were given a Social Security number in just the last 4.5 years that we're going to have to figure out if they should be here, if they are here legally under a program, and if they are here illegally, then they certainly shouldn't be using that Social Security number to be on our programs, and they should be removed or given the opportunity to go home on their own. That's the one thing President Trump would like, is everybody to be given the opportunity to go home if they would wish to.
If you have a following of 3,000 to 100,000, this is the biggest no-brainer because you're still a micro creator having a...
As you know.
Okay? So you see that 9 million Social Security numbers to illegals.
All right, y'all. So this video is about 18 minutes long, and I don't like doing these type of videos for longer than 15 minutes. So if you want to finish watching this whole video, the source of it is Melanie King, Sanctuary Chaos as Nap Looting Begins as Legals Voting During Government Shutdown is the title. Peace, love, and light. Y'all have a good one.